Welcome to Cadence Design Systems Fidelity Tutorial Tuesday, where we show you how to use a feature or demonstrate a technique in just a few minutes.
Let's talk about preferences, and in particular the selection frame. Before I jump into that though, just a couple of additional words about selection in general. It is controlled by a number of things Pointwise. At the foundation, visibility controls selection. When things are not visible either in the display window here or in the list tab, then they cannot be selected. On top of that, we also have masking tools. This is the mask toolbar shown in my interface. And all of these objects that have checkboxes are currently selectable in the display or the list. And so masking is another control that you have, which is covered in another Tutorial Tuesday video. And then finally, some of the tasks or commands in Pointwise can override the mask and control selection. For instance, a good example is the CAE set boundary conditions command, which overrides the mask so that only surface grids or domains can be selected. But for today, we want to look at the Edit Preferences command and some selection controls that we can set up preferences for here in this panel. At the very top, there's one listed as Group Priority. There's a checkbox. It's currently unchecked. Pick Groups First. I'm going to check that on, click Close, and looking at my list, you can see that I do have a group currently defined or created in this particular project. Its name is Bay Door. It's a connector group, and there's 10 connectors assigned to that group. So when this checkbox is on in the preferences, what it's going to do is give priority to groups that have been created. Let me come up here to my mask. I'm going to use the Control key and click on Connectors to isolate masking for connectors. And then when I begin to mouse over my project, you can see various connectors are highlighted. But when I get into the vicinity of that group is highlighted first. And you can see in the status bar below, it says Bay Door. It's a connector group with 10 entities. If I then hit the space bar, I'll see that individual connectors are then highlighted for selection. I know that there are multiple entities available for selection by the multi-cursor or stacked cursor icon that you see where the mouse is located. Okay, enough about groups. Let's go back to the Edit Preferences command. I'm going to go ahead and toggle that back off, and then the next option is Selection Box. By default, it's set up for inside and touched by box. So let's close our panel. I'm going to come over here in the display window and I'm going to create a box about the tip of this geometry or topology. And you can see it has selected all of these connectors that were inside the box and those that were touched by the box. That is the preference that's currently set up. Let's go back to Edit Preferences. I'll go ahead and change that to inside box only. And then when I come over here and create a similar size selection box using the mouse, and I'm doing that by clicking the left mouse button and dragging down and to the right, I get only those connectors which are entirely within the box that I sized. It is important to note here though that there is a keyboard shortcut, the Shift key, when you're using the selection box that temporarily toggles the function of the box or how it operates. So if now I hold the Shift key, size a similar box, I get the inside and touching the box option. So that's handy to use, and so you can set your preference for whatever you use the most and then use the Shift key to toggle it when needed. Alright, let's go back to our Edit Preferences. I'm going to go ahead and set this selection box back to the default preference. I'm not going to talk about select adjacent angle limit because we do have another video that covers select adjacent tools, and this will be talked about there. So that leaves us with mouse selection, exclusive and additive. The default is exclusive. Let's close our preferences. I'm going to come over here and select a connector. And then I'm going to mouse over another connector and select it by clicking the left mouse button. You'll notice that it's now selected, but the previously selected connector was deselected. That's why we call it exclusive selection. If you want to add additional objects to the current selection, you have to hold the Control key in order to add them. Highlighting and clicking additional connectors. We can change that preference. I'll deselect first, edit, preferences, come down here and select additive, I'll close, and so now every time I highlight and left click with my mouse on a connector, it becomes selected. I don't have to use any hotkeys or accelerators or meta keys in order to do that.
If you like this video, be sure to click the thumbs up button or subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, drop us a line down below or connect with us via LinkedIn, which is linked in the description. Thank you all, and have a pleasant Tuesday.